because we're kind of talking about the episode.
Yeah.
Hello, non-existent viewers.
Hi again. I'm still Maddie.
I'm still Erin.
And we are still watching Supernatural. We are only on season 1, episode 4, Phantom Traveler.
We will be watching this for the rest of our lives.
Like I haven't been already.
What you drinking this time, Maddie?
Just water tonight.
Okay, resident Elkie.
I thought about having a Truly, but I've been sleeping really terribly over the last week, and having that is not gonna go well. So
I'm
just
know the science because liberal arts kid, but something about how like alcohol acts as both like a depressant and a stimulant.
Yeah,
like it makes you sleepy, and then as you metabolize the alcohol, it wakes. That's why you always wake up at 4 a.m. after a binge and can't fall back asleep, and then you have the headache.
The first time that ever happened to me was like the worst. And I like, if I wake up at 4 a.m., it's like the hangover is already there. But it's like shakes hangover, particularly if I was drinking wine. So like just be laying there in bed like.
I know if I've been drinking, I will usually take a swig of ZzzQuil. Like if I'm afraid that there's gonna be a hangover, I'll take a swig of ZzzQuil before bed too, so I can sleep through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I will notice the only alcohol I've ever like actively noticed give me energy, which is lies, obviously, it's tequila. Like tequila's the biggest liar there is. Don't listen to it, folks.
That's why there's a song about it.
Yeah. Can you hear my dog doing that?
I can. Hello, Lacey.
Lacey.
Is she scritching? Is that what she's doing?
Yeah, she wants attention.
I heard you speaking to others and not me.
Oh, hi.
Pupper. Be small, Pupper.
Can I move?
No.
She's very fluffy right now.
She is very fluffy right now. No, yeah, you did what I wanted. You looked at me. That will be sufficient, human.
Yeah, we're good for now.
Oh, hi. Well, I made the tackiest, shittiest version of sangria I possibly could.
Ooh.
Because I have a terrible bottle of red wine in the fridge.
And what else do you do with bad red wine?
Pretty much, yeah. And so I've got a thing of cherry flavored seltzer in here and a squirt of Mio.
Okay, that is actually trashier than I was expecting.
Oh, I meant it. I meant it when I said that.
I thought you were just being like self-deprecating, like, I did
no,
this
it's
thing.
Legitimately trashy sangria.
But yeah, no, that's I mean, coming from a family that uses Mike's Harder lemonade as a like mixer, that's up there.
That's probably the best use of it. I would have to cut it with something.
It's true.
Well, with vodka. I could have juiced an orange or done a squirt of fucking Mio.
Like, I actually really like Mio. I like Mio.
It's good.
I find the flavors are a little better than a lot of other options.
Yeah, I started buying like the Aldi store brand ones because they're like $1.60 a pop.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, for sure.
They're definitely not as good. The orange one tastes like soap, but they're $1.60 a pop. So
right. There is this, I think it's a Lipton like powder mix-in.
Oh yeah.
But it's peach green tea, and it is the best thing.
I got one of the Wally World ones that was like a sweet tea one.
Mm-hmm. Too sweet?
Rough. It just tasted fucked up.
Oh.
It didn't taste like anything remotely approaching tea. Mm. It just tasted really... No, it was lemon tea. That was what it was.
Oh.
Anyway, it tasted really fucked up. So I would recommend just making fucking tea.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge tea drinker. It just kind of all tastes like hot water to me. Mm-hmm.
I'd recently bought a bunch of ginger turmeric tea from this website where I bought 15 bags of kelp noodles.
Are you gonna mix it with all your beans?
With all my beans, yeah, beans and kelp noodles. Because Amazon, they used to be fairly reasonable through Prime Pantry, and now they're like $8 a pop. And I said, fuck that.
Can you
And
make like a black bean based mole?
totally, I think. Oh, there is actually a sauce called there's a dish called enfrijolada. Enfrijoladas, yes, it's just one L. That's basically a bean sauce that I have not made yet, but I want to because it sounds fucking delightful.
And you have so many beans.
I have so many beans.
So many.
I'm a beaniac.
For those of you who don't know, there are subscription bean places, and they have like 2-year-long waiting lists.
Yeah.
This was news to me.
Shout out to Rancho Gordo. Please give me money to please feel free
to
sponsor
our Unwatched
from an avowed Bean Club member. Yes, I have far too many beans, and I've already skipped a month like a year ago, and I think you only ever get to skip 1 month, and there's like a 2-year-long waiting list, so I'm not giving up my spot. So I have, and beans don't go bad, they're fine.
That's insane. I feel like you could call and be like, COVID, man.
It might be like once a year. I haven't strictly looked into it, but they also had Marcella beans in it this month, and those have been out of stock for a good year, and they're delicious.
All right.
I have a pot of Scarlet Runners on the stove right now because they took 5 hours to cook last night and still weren't done.
Why?
I don't know. The skins were thick. I have no idea. I mean, they were like done enough to be edible, but they're still just kind of starchy and not the most pleasant texture, so I threw them back on.
A crunch.
Anyway.
Just go straight on like a bean diet.
That's honestly what I was planning on doing because I have gained a bit and I'm not pleased. So I was going to just like beans and vegetables. It's like, that's literally all the nutrition you require. And it's not like I don't have enough of it.
Right. Well, beans are good.
Mm-hmm.
Make some chili.
Yeah. Soups.
Because this is the Midwest and there are beans in our chili. Don't at me.
Non-existent viewers, don't at us.
I'm not getting into an internet war over whether or not beans belong in chili.
Beans belong in chili if you want them in chili. They don't belong in chili if you don't want them in chili. Let's all just like the things we like.
That works for me to like an extent. Because my immediate thought is like, but some things that people like are just wrong.
Oh, 100%, yes.
Like
I spent most of my workday going through threads. Jezebel apparently used to have a food themed thing called like it's behind the restaurant or something, and it was people would send in their worst stories of being a server around various topics. And my takeaway was that people are trash.
Yeah.
Even as someone who has served before, but it wasn't really the kind of place where I had an opportunity to, see a lot of really bizarre wine behavior or food behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think the weirdest thing I ever saw, well, 2 things. One was a lady who would consistently ask for ice cubes for her Chardonnay, which is, okay, whatever. Chardonnay is disgusting. Do what you want to it. Don't at me. And the second thing was our landlord was one of the richest guys in town, I believe. And he would come in and just ask us for whatever we had open. And it was usually the KJ Chardonnay, the KJ or whatever you have open. And normally, like if we didn't have a full bottle, he would absolutely refuse to allow us to open a second bottle of the same wine and would just say, just top it off with whatever. We'd basically make him a Chardonnay suicide. Which,
interesting.
Again, it's Chardonnay. You're not going to make it worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking do it. And then he would always charge it. He was the only person who had an account. He would charge it to his account, buy people rounds, people that he knew, buy them rounds on his account. And he would come in like once every couple months and pay it and would tip like $100 off the whole thing. It's like, this man has money. Please tip us properly, sir. Like,
right.
Yeah, and like all of us would have to split it because we'd all have like, so we'd probably get like $15 once every 3 months off the motherfucker.
Right. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna close my door.
Okay. Peek behind the curtain is absolutely thrilling. Do, 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 do.
Not wearing real pants.
This is the internet. You don't have to.
Surprise, this is OnlyFans. We don't have fans, but you know.
We are our OnlyFans.
We are our OnlyFans.
Man, if anyone would pay me like OnlyFans money to just talk for hours, I would like. I would.
100%.
Yeah,
I can talk.
I'm pretty sure no one would pay me OnlyFans money to take my clothes off, like to do OnlyFans things alone. Just talk for hours, but
we can do the opposite thing where all we do is put more clothes on.
Yeah, like I will take all of these clothes off unless you put money in my account now. For God's sake, the humanity.
I made a mistake. I underestimated how cranky she was.
Oh, she mad. Well, we can't hear her now, so it's fine. She can just be cranky out there.
Oh, she's gonna whine right outside the door just to like break my heart.
You're the worst mother ever.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I spent 4 straight days with her.
That's too much. That's too much time to spend with a real child, let alone your dog.
Right. Yeah.
And I
went and did other things, obviously. We had a donut break.
Yes, it was lovely. Lovely donut break.
My pie was very good.
Excellent.
But it was basically just strawberry. I think I saw 2 pieces of rhubarb. Which makes sense. It's a bad time of year. Like, I probably shouldn't have gone all in on the strawberry rhubarb, but...
When it's an option, though, it's hard to say no.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay. Generally speaking, like, a Dutch apple pie is a safe bet. But you said raspberry, and I was like, oh, that sounds so good. Sounds so good.
I hate when strawberry rhubarb pie assumes you want more strawberry than rhubarb. It's like, no.
I'm like, I want basically an equal amount because I enjoy sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And so like halvesies is probably good for me.
Like 75% rhubarb, 25% strawberries at a maximum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know what I'm here for.
Yeah. Strawberry rhubarb crisp is also lovely.
Yeah. Love a crisp.
And it's a little easier to like, yeah. I prefer like a crumble top to a traditional pie crust. On top anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The pie base. But...
Well, now I want some of that.
It's gone. It's all gone.
Oh, gone.
I should plant some rhubarb. I have a real yard.
You fucking should.
I could plant rhubarb.
Could do rhubarb and tomatoes and all manner of goodness.
I love this. It's not quite a meme. I don't know if it was a Tumblr or a Twitter post originally, but it's like, I've never agonized over a plant, like a tomato, like you give it all of the work to get it set up and then you have to replant it. And then sometimes they just die for no reason anyway. And sometimes it's just, here's a bad fucking tomato. And it's all to save like $2.98 on tomatoes. Yeah. Jalapenos, actually. That is something that I would grow because I know they're easy to grow and don't take a lot of space. And I enjoy a jalapeno.
Yeah.
I can make jalapeno poppers.
Hell yeah. I roasted some last night and like ate them on a taco. Like clear out the membrane and they're not even particularly spicy. Like it's like a bell pepper. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I had to laugh because I was telling this horror story. My brother wanted some of my canning jars to like do pickled northern in. Yeah, exactly. And I was like I love you, I support you, but I don't really want to give you my jars to pickle fish in.
You never get that out.
Because, I mean, generally speaking, once a pickle jar of any kind, always a pickle jar, but especially pickled fish.
I've never had pickled northern.
But then I Yeah, it's all right. It's a little better than herring for me because the meat's a little different,
I was
but
gonna say, is the point because the the bones are so tiny that it's easier just to whack it into pieces and pickle it than it is to like fillet it?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, most people don't eat northern,
Right, yeah.
so. But yeah. And then I mentioned pickled jalapenos to these people that I was telling, and they were like, that sounds disgusting. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's like any commercial jalapeno you buy in a
Right.
jar is a pickled
By and
jalapeno.
large.
And like most restaurants use pickled ones because it's generally cheaper for them and they're not as hot
Yeah.
as
no
a fresh one. Oh, I remember the first time I had a fresh jalapeno and I didn't know. I wasn't warned. Oh,
I love a pickled anything. I'm here for it.
yeah. Pickled beet.
Yes.
Good.
Love a pickled egg. You
Yeah.
put a pickled egg in pickled beet brine. It's pretty.
I don't like dislike a pickled egg, but it's probably like my second least favorite way to consume an egg.
What would be your least favorite? Raw?
I suppose raw. I didn't even think about that.
Licked off the side of a wall by any chance?
Of the standard preparations of eggs, raw would definitely be the bottom, and so pickled, I suppose, would be third. I really don't like scrambled eggs.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't like them. Don't
Love a scramble.
I mean,
I don't.
If I pour cheese sauce on it, 100%.
Sure.
But you're there for the cheese sauce then, not the
right.
eggs.
They're a vehicle for cheese at that point.
Yeah.
The egg is superfluous.
No.
I don't think I've ever had one, so I can't say I don't like it, but I don't understand a soft-boiled egg. Like, the thought creeps me, and also like, how do you not like? There's the cute little like egg snipper offers, or you can just use the spoon to. You must have particulate shell matter in there somehow. Like you're cracking it inward.
Yeah.
Like you can't help but have particulate shell matter in there, and then it's also a soppy egg. Which I love a runny yolk, but a soppy white creeps me.
Yeah, I don't like a super runny like white either.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like a runny yolk.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, my favorite, now that I know how to make them with like reasonable quickness and it turns out okay. Poached. Mm-hmm. Love a poached egg.
Mm-hmm. I like a fried egg when like the edges get crispy.
Yeah.
You get that little like lacy egg bit. Oh, so good.
Lacy eggs? What?
What? Easy.
Yeah, I'm real bad. If I'm doing like a fried egg, it's like, here's my olive oil and it's just gonna sit there.
At that point, fuck it. I'm committing.
I hope you've all enjoyed this segment of us talking about anything that's not supernatural.
Yeah. I bet you were all curious about what our breakfast our breakfast tendencies were.
Oh. Anyhow,
episode 4, Phantom Traveler. Do we have thoughts?
I mean, I have thoughts. I have some thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna
I was mentioning before we started, my notes are trash. I definitely had not hit my stride yet in terms of solid note taking and what sort of information might be useful to me to record for later.
Yeah. I'm glad that we started doing this like a little earlier so we can decide,
Yeah.
Like I knew things that I needed to keep track of
a
little more, but
oh yeah. Well, you'd think I'd fucking know because again, ADD brain, my shit does not work. Constantly forgetful. And yet all I'm writing down is not even particularly funny, snarky commentary like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. I'll remember this. No, I won't. And what I have is irrelevant, basically. They're bad jokes. Not even funny. Like, what have I done?
I'm sure they're funny. I'm sure they're funny enough anyway.
I'm sure I thought they were at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I can guarantee at the time you did.
It's like, I'm fucking hilarious. Give me a podcast. Yeah.
Maybe that's our downfall. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this on video, but I am far too lazy for this to be, I'm going to extract. Actually, it automatically extracts the audio. Thanks. Anyway, the boys find themselves on their way to Pennsylvania.
Ah, yes. Land of 1,000 Anyas.
What?
I don't know. I don't actually know that. I lived there and I still don't know what the like state, thing is. Motto.
Like what? Oh.
So we're going land of 1,000 Anyas. Anyhow, just run with it.
Oh, I feel like it's probably something more like birthplace of liberty.
Now that sounds like a Delaware, some Delaware bullshit.
State motto. It is virtue, liberty, and independence.
I'm sticking with land of 1,000 Anyas.
I was closer. Please let that be in Learned League, like anytime in the next week before I forget it.
Oh my god. And I still won't remember and I'll be pissed.
Like,
I'm doing so badly.
Oh, same.
Fucking badly.
I'm 30th of 32.
Oh my god. I'm 20th out of 28 now. Because I did
that's
beat
nice.
the person in first yesterday.
I'm optimistic about today because I actually knew half of them and then I YOLO'd another one and got that.
Nice.
So much better than just Baghdad, but
or Agrabah. I thought there was a possibility that was a real place.
I mean, I think there's a very real chance that, once upon a time, sure. It is not today.
No. But yeah, no, I was in last yesterday and beat the person in first. So I was like, ha. And that will never happen again.
God, such bullshit. Why did we do this to ourselves again?
Gluttons for punishment.
It's true. Very masochistic. Anyway, so they're called in. I mentioned this last time that we were doing an episode. Like Dean randomly remembering people from 5 years back.
That's
Dude
right.
randomly calls him. They find out that John has said to call Dean if there's an emergency because he's an asshole who doesn't actually follow through on anything.
He's got other priorities.
We don't know what those are. And when we find him, we still don't know what they are. He's just been doing fuck all for 15 episodes. Spoilers. Oh, you had to have seen him in an episode by now.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm saying just in general. For our non-existent listeners.
Oh, for the non-existent listeners, you don't actually see John for a few episodes after this. Just sits there angsty.
So he gets a call from his buddy who had experienced a poltergeist.
Yes.
And Dean and their dad helped them out with that.
Yep.
Little wrinkle.
Well, Sammy was at college.
Yeah.
It was probably only 2 years. I think I said 5, but I think it was 2.
Yeah, whatever.
Regardless. So they hop in the Impala and head on their way. I think they were in Ohio originally. It wasn't that far away.
No.
Is this the one where they start in Iowa?
Fuck if I know.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. The laws of physics don't super apply to them.
It's a magic Impala.
Which is kind of funny because it's clearly tied to the Impala, because in a later episode, John clearly says, I can't get there by this time. So, but Anyway, they head on their way to Pennsylvania to investigate a plane crash.
Yes.
Yes,
and
that is true. Yes, and
well, okay. The main notes I had for this point were Homeland Security is something we haven't seen much of yet.
Yeah.
So that's, fun.
New.
Different.
Yeah.
And they finally fucking bothered with not costumes. They kind of look like they're wearing costumes when they're wearing suits, but disguises.
I mean, technically they are.
I still maintain. Well, you all right?
No, I wasn't expecting sounds.
Oh, okay.
I got a notification. I thought someone had tagged me in something, but it was a video that started playing, which is the worst thing.
Yeah, no. Auto playing video should be illegal.
Yes. And automatic toilets.
Yeah. They're never quite right, are they?
Right? It's like, oh, this timing's just a little off. Anyway. So Homeland Security, they're impersonating federal agents yet again.
Yeah, yet again. So much jail time.
So much jail time.
I still maintain if they kept a set of helmets, clipboards, and high-vis vests in the trunk of their car, they'd get a lot more places.
They might.
I mean, that's true. We're only 4 episodes in. Yeah. The high-vis vests maybe yet to come.
Yeah. Some of their undercover shenanigans are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Going forward, but currently it's a lot of federal agents.
So they impersonate federal agents, sneak into where all of the wreckage and where the bodies were there too, right? No? Okay, they were all out.
Yeah. Because this was like a week later.
Okay. My obligatory X-Files at the end, there is an episode where they similarly go into an airplane hangar full of wreckage from a plane crash, and there are bodies. So
that seems strange.
It's pretty soon after the fact.
Okay. Yeah.
Apparently I think it was for ease of identification by the families. You could go to just one central location and pick up the zip open each body bag and take a peek and go, oh, not Dad. That's how they do that, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right.
I don't think so.
Aviation.
I feel like that would be a bad thing.
Anyhow.
This is when we kind of really find out that someone on the writing staff either had a lot of very interesting coursework in college and remember every single little detail of their college experience, or didn't have any. Because let me tell you, it would be hard to identify sulfur having taken a single college level, oh, here's my early chemistry class.
I mean, aside from the smell, presumably?
Yeah. I mean, the smell would be one thing, but he looks at it in a microscope.
Oh.
Because there's residue that they're looking at.
I had other issues, plausibility issues with this one too.
Yeah. This is an ongoing thing with Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I need to just turn my phone off because apparently I am popular.
Hollywood
right now.
Over here. Yeah, no, I have a note, and I don't, again, because my notes are trash and so am I. I don't know at what point this was brought up. I assume it was when they were talking about the crash, but I just have 2 tons of pressure on an exit door.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's when they first get there.
Fucking emergency exit door.
They go to interview one of the survivors. Mm-hmm. The guy who checked himself into.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And he says, I saw him, he opened the door. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so the only thing I don't know enough about planes to like reasonably talk about this.
Right.
But in theory, the only time you would be opening an emergency door is when you've lost cabin pressure and thus
equalized.
And so it's a normal door at that point. At least that's
Fair
my
point.
understanding.
Yeah, I guess most
how-
of the time you're not meant to be opening the emergency exit door in flight.
Right. Right.
So maybe there is a reasonable explanation for that cabin pressure. I'm no science computer. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounded highly implausible to me.
It sounded like too much. I'll agree. But based on my limited understanding of how cabin pressure works, I think that there is probably an inhuman amount of pressure on the door.
I don't know. Non-existent science viewers, let us know in
the
comments. How wrong are we?
Someone who can explain why people yell about not being able to open the bags of chips when you're on the ground.
What?
Well, the like bags of chips that they have, it's a bit in 30 Rock when they're on the plane and they're like, you can't open anything when you're like parked on a runway. All of which is nonsense, of course, because if you've ever like had to walk through first class, like you're one of the last people to get on the plane. First class has beverages, they've got food already, like
they're good.
Like you can have whatever is available on a plane at any point in time. But it's kind of a long-standing joke that like, oh, you can't open the pop because it's designed to be open in air. But the whole point of a pressurized cabin is that you're maintaining the pressure that you're used to on Earth.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I got lucky enough to get first class on my way back from Paris once. When I
first
worked
class
for
is great.
A major airline. And yeah, I had a mimosa down the hatch before we took off.
Yeah. I don't know if you fly Delta at all, but they're like Comfort Plus seats where it includes beverages.
It does indeed.
When I went on the like week and a half long bachelorette weekend and Napa trip, my flight from Denver to Napa, I had booked myself Comfort Plus the whole way. I'm like, I'm not dealing with trying to find storage space. I want booze in me the whole time because I am going to hang out with 14 women, of whom I knew 3. That was great. And then I was like, and I'm drinking for a week straight. So I got on the plane leaving Denver and said that I wanted one of their like sparkling wines. It's basically Prosecco, but it's not quite.
Right.
I think it's technically a Moscato, the D'Asti.
Yeah, Moscato d'Asti.
Yeah.
It's Prosecco with sugar in it.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very sweet Prosecco, but it makes for an easy way to have a mimosa available quickly the next morning if you don't want to go on a liquor run.
Fair.
So if you're sitting in there, that is my advice to all of you, is to ask for a bottle to go. Don't tell them it's to go, though. They won't give it to you. You just hide it in your backpack.
Yeah.
I think I got away with 3 one time.
Love it.
And this was a quick flight. This was my flight from Minneapolis to Atlanta.
Nice.
I got 3 bottles
with you all the way to Napa.
But she started to like pour it in a glass. I'm like, I don't need a glass. She goes, oh.
Like, I'm a nervous flyer.
I'm nervous.
Yeah. And I need something that's approximately 4.5% to get me through.
I mean, when you're going between those 2 kinds of events, like you're not gonna go for like whiskey or anything. Also, the flight was at like 11 a.m.
Yeah. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if that was your
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not my excuse.
No, you didn't need one.
I didn't need one.
Because flight attendants are fucking professionals. That's why.
Oh, no. I do not have issues with flying, unlike Dean, which we learned in this episode.
Dean, real scared of it.
Yeah. I do. I hadn't watched this episode in probably 3 years when I was watching it. I love the way he delivers, like, why do you think I drive everywhere?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's also hard to keep up fake identities when you're going through TSA a whole bunch.
well, yeah, especially this is another of those things where you sit here going, okay, much like the credit card fraud post 9/11, this is a post 9/11 world. Dean has a file. We don't know this yet canonically, but in extended context, like, Dean is a known criminal.
Yeah, he is a person known to law enforcement, as it were.
Yeah,
Sorry, I tried to move and gave myself a foot cramp.
You're so old. No, I know that feeling. I hate it. So they find out that this plane crash was probably dynamic. Ooh.
Demonic?
Ooh. This is gonna be good. This is gonna go real well. Okay. Yeah, denominations. I don't know if we're talking about money or church, but you know, demons, denoms, it's all good.
Let's call the whole thing off.
But yes.
Was there a cold open for this? There was, wasn't there?
It was the flight.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see the guy like get possessed by the very pixelated black smoke.
Yeah. Pixel demons.
Which I appreciate so much because I'm sitting here going like, you actually had to use quite a bit of your budget for this alone, didn't you? I love trying to parse out like where a lot of the budget went, because it's like, okay, 50% went to actors and writers. I don't know that for like fact, but I know that that was obviously like the biggest thing.
Right.
But the long-standing joke that the lighting budget took the hit definitely shows in this episode.
Yeah.
It was not well lit, which you know, if you want to talk about being hungover in an airport, I guess that's what you want, because airports are bright.
Yeah. Yeah, not a good place to be recovering from an evening, as it were.
Yeah, no.
Let alone having to deal with people that like don't know how to move in crowds properly and or haven't flown since the Reagan administration.
Oh my god.
As we've discussed before.
Having like flashbacks. I mean, the best part about any airport is finding the sushi place and trying to figure out, is this safe?
How badly do I want to risk diarrhea on a plane?
Right. Like, am I on the last leg home?
Dude, let's time it. How long do I have? Is this gonna be an airborne issue or no?
Right. Like if you're in MSP, not an issue. Like you've got a 40-minute flight, you'll make it.
Theoretically,
depending on how bad the situation is.
Okay, so anyway, diarrhea.
We have verbal diarrhea at this point.
Sure do, and it's about as pleasant to deal with as the real thing.
That's all right. As we've established, future viewers that we don't currently have viewers, so you're getting kind of still rough cuts here.
Yeah. This is mostly just us.
Not being able to socialize. With each other or anyone else.
No. So anyway, they're investigating this plane crash.
Yep.
Assume there is a demonic origin of some sort.
Yes.
But so my notes are the worst. So anyway, they eventually get to they figure out that in a Final Destination-y sort of scenario that the demon is probably going to next target somebody who survived the previous plane crash, or has been targeting people who survived the previous plane crash. Yes. And there's a very Airplane-esque sequence where they're like talking to one of the flight attendants. All I could think about was Airplane.
Yes.
They're talking to that flight attendant and like pretending to be some friend of her boyfriend to try to convince her to stay home. And
right. Yeah, and she's like ready to buy it too.
Yeah, oh totally. Yeah. But like, I don't value my career. Instead, he's loved me.
Like,
hope the motherfucker's Jeff Bezos.
Ma'am. But yeah, like, first off, they had to buy plane tickets.
Yeah.
And they had to produce identification to get through security.
Well, that was the other thing too. As someone who has worked for a major airline, didn't they buy the ticket at the fucking gate? I'm like, my God, that must have cost you so much money.
I suppose maybe they do like in romantic comedies where you're just like, it's about a girl.
Yeah.
Which is not inaccurate.
I mean, I give people the about a girl discount the whole time. All the time. It's like, well, you're doing it for love? Yeah, we'll get you on that, sir.
What kind of discount is that? Like 12%?
One that I just made up.
Oh, I know, but like if it were,
they don't do fucking bereavement fairs anymore. Occasionally, we would get people. Granted, okay, I work for a subsidiary of a major airline, so it wasn't quite the same thing. But like people would call occasionally asking about bereavement fairs, and I'm very sorry for your loss, but no. Is the funeral in Cancun? Because I could maybe find you a promo code. That's about all I got.
Delta still does bereavement fairs.
Do they?
Yeah. Or at least like as of a year and a half ago they did. Because when my friend's mom died, I had been looking into like, okay. Womp womp.
Well, bringing the room down with death. This whole episode's about death.
The whole show, really. Yeah. I think there's only one episode where someone doesn't die.
Yeah. I had a note about how the Phantom Traveler makes the same terrible joke before he brings the plane down, like an airborne Mr. Freeze.
Well, of course.
And I didn't write the joke down.
Oh, it's time flies.
Awful stuff.
Because they've been up for, I think it's like 42 minutes, something like that.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And he goes, wow, time sure flies.
Mm-hmm. Dead.
I mean, can you imagine delivering that line like Arnold Schwarzenegger though? Like, time flies.
Hope one take where he said, time flies.
That would have made this better. This would have been amazing. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway, so another plane crashes. It was the pilot doing his little takeoff touchdown thing. That is a real thing. It's a real exercise. Pilots do. It's one of the main things to get your pilot's license.
Would you get your pilot's license?
I tried.
Did you really? Oh, that's right.
I didn't pass the class because the teacher was a dick. It's the only class I've ever dropped. Only one person.
Fucking high school had aviation.
Yeah, my high school had it. Yeah, my high school had an aviation class, and the whole point was it gave you all of the non-actual like flight. The final was the like written portion of the like private pilot license test.
Public high school with aviation.
Yeah. Yep, I did.
Mine didn't even have Latin.
Mine didn't have Latin either.
Actually, it might have. I don't fucking know.
Mine did have French, Spanish, German.
We definitely had those three.
But we also had the option to go to any of the 3 universities in town where we could have taken Latin or Norwegian or Japanese. Some people took Japanese. But anyway, the flight simulator that we had to use was interesting. I crashed a plane a few times.
So many imaginary virtual people died because of your negligence.
So many. I mean, it would have just been like a 2-seater. It was just me and someone else.
You deprived some family of their co-pilot.
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately. There was also a like computer so we had the like big box simulator where you actually got to like wheel and everything, and then there was the computer simulator where you had to be like WASDing it. That was miserable. Oh, and we had to watch these terrible videos. We need to stop talking about this because I could rant about this class forever.
It might be more interesting than listening to us half-assedly talk about Supernat. Yeah. So what to say about this episode?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the problem is there's not a lot to say. It doesn't really advance any plot.
No.
The only things, you know, we've got this I see Cristo. I know that bugged you.
It sure did.
So speaking of Latin and not speaking Latin.
Christ on a bike. Cristo on a bike. Okay. So anyway, they end up going up and they buy tickets somehow, get on this flight to try to figure out who is currently. They figure out that the demon is possessing someone from the previous flight and using that person to take the plane down. So they try to figure out who was on the previous flight. They determine it was not the flight attendant. And they do this by saying the name of God. They say, oh, okay, we're going to sidebar this because this also annoyed me. So they talked about a lot of this episode is missed opportunity for me. Mm-hmm. Like they talk about how they've established this could be a Japanese demon. So they've already brought in an opportunity for other mythologies. Yep. And then they just go right back to the fucking Catholic horse shit. Yeah. It's like, okay, sure. There's, you know, I was about to say we've all seen The Exorcist. I haven't actually seen The Exorcist. I really need to. I feel like I have.
Why haven't you seen The Exorcist?
I don't know. Because I'm a giant baby about horror movies. And
yeah, but it's not even like scary.
Them. I've heard it's like ass-clenchingly terrifying.
Oh, I guess watching it as an adult for the first time, like
that maybe. And I didn't grow up Catholic, so I don't have any baggage where that's concerned. I know that maybe is a different thing. I don't know.
No.
Anyhow, we're all
as someone who did grow up Catholic, no.
Okay. Anyhow, you know, we're all familiar with sort of cultural shorthand around demonic possession,
yes,
you know, that kind of shit, which, okay, fine, you don't have to then introduce your audience to a new you know, some new cultural shorthand and have to like, or there is no shorthand for it.
Yep.
But like it just annoyed me that they bring in this possibility, okay, Japanese demon, cool, let's do something with that. Nope. It just bugs me. And then again, the way to tell if someone is possessed by a demon is to say the name of God, and they said it's Cristo in Latin. Oh, the name of God in Latin, which again, why it has to be Latin, don't fucking know. Post-Vatican II, I feel like the demon shouldn't care. Yeah. But this is a pre-Vatican II demon, apparently.
Yeah.
So
clearly.
Again, Jesus in Latin is Jesus, I believe. God is Deus. If you're going to go Christ, it would be Christus. Christo is a Greek suffix. I'm pretty sure. That's annoying. Like, come on, guys. It's not that hard.
Not that hard. I know. That's so funny. Because a lot of the other episodes, there's some homework that has been done.
Right. And they couldn't be asked for this one. They're like, fuck it, Cristo, who cares?
Cristo. It will probably make you happy to know they don't do that very long. Well, for whatever reason, they just stopped doing that. Probably because everyone around them is either like a demon or something else.
Right, yeah. Also, they bring a fucking bottle of holy water onto that plane, and they could have much more easily sneaked a gun past TSA than that fucking bottle of holy water post 9/11.
Yeah, especially like in Dean's metal flask. Like,
yeah. Like a few different, even if they I don't think we had the, you know, the big old body scanners at that point, but it wouldn't have made it through the metal detector.
Yeah, no.
Or maybe we did have the body scanners. I don't recall.
You did not.
Okay.
Because I actually never flew on a plane until 2007.
Really?
And the body scanners didn't exist, at least in like every airport.
Sure, not in wide use.
Yeah. But when I flew to New York City and back, there was no body scanner in New York, so I'm assuming that they didn't exist.
Right.
And if they did exist, it was in Europe and not the US. But
anyhow, so they figure out who, but so it was the pilot this time around, or that was before? That was before.
That was before. Yeah. So when they're like going through the list of survivors, the pilot has already, like, he's at the airport gonna do his little
yeah, the possessed demon, they sit on him basically and rub holy water in his face, and the possessed the demon man says some mean things to
and talk dirty to him.
Yeah, it did talk real dirty to him. It was mean. And the end, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, my notes, vague overtures to other folklore traditions leads to fall back on typical Catholic nonsense.
Yeah. I know I've mentioned this to you, but kind of a recurring theme that I have is like this fucking arrogance of goddamn like Christian faith and mythology in this series. It gets so annoying. Because even though Sam and Dean are pretty like, this is fucking bullshit, and all of the characters that we care about are like, this is fucking bullshit, like the narrative still follows it, and that's really annoying at times.
Yeah, there's still a primacy given to Christian tradition.
Yeah. Which, and again,
like it's a shorthand, right? Like it's
we especially
don't have to explain to our primary Christian audience that
exactly. Like these earlier seasons, again, it makes sense because you're building a base basically, and you've got to go with what is the majority in your base to try and get them to watch it. And so doing things like, oh yeah, it's a demon. Yeah. But I mean, I think
it's just boring though. Like it's boring and it's unimaginative.
It does get boring.
It's lazy.
I think the, vague overtures as you described them, are like interesting to me as a viewer who does like world mythologies. Like it's fun to hear those connections being made, even if it falls flat on its face in the actual like storyline.
Yeah, that's a point too, I guess. There's a possibility of trying and fucking it up and then being offensive. Which,
right.
I get it. That, I mean, back then, I don't think people were as willing to, like now people are maybe a little bit more tentative about it because people will call you out if you fuck up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you might as well try, or at least, okay, if you're going to do it, it means you got to do it right. Like, have some respect. But yeah, I don't know.
Things fine.
I don't remember the soundtrack specifically, but I do have a note that, come on, Nazareth would have let you license a song for next to nothing.
Yes.
So they could have done better.
They could have done better.
He checks Nazareth or some such at some point, and then they don't play Nazareth. Is it that? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're probably on the state fair circuit right now. Like they would let you. You can have Love Hurts.
half of the soundtrack is on State Fair or Rib Fest.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Tracks.
Yeah, Final Destination retread and not as good is what I have. Maybe too many details, or just what details we get aren't cohesive. I don't know.
Yeah, I fucking love Final Destination. So
good.
Like clearly Final Destination wins as far as like if you're gonna do some horror, people are going after, you know, survivors kind of thing. Like Final Destination actually does it really well.
I mean, also, okay, dovetails beautifully into Aaron's obligatory X-Files moment, but like, I didn't watch Final Destination until after I found out that it started as a spec script for the X-Files, and that fucking, oh my god.
The writer, yeah.
Two of the writers of the X-Files, Glenn Morgan and James Wan.
Yeah.
Glenn Morgan and James Wan directed.
I think James Wan.
Not James Wan. Ha! It's my James Wan impression. Do you like it? I jump scared you. Yeah, and so it feels very much like a long form episode of the X-Files, except it's one that isn't from Mulder and Scully's perspective.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so fucking fun when you watch it from that. It's like, yes, it's like, it feels like it. The sound cues are like it. It's directed like, you know, it feels like I'm here for it. If every movie was this, I would love it.
Yeah.
Also Tony Todd, which Tony Todd can do no wrong.
I'm gonna just make you very sad. There was a large part of me that thought Tony Todd was gonna end up in Supernat at one point.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
And it would have just step in basically into that same role. And then it didn't happen, and the whole time I was just like, I was kind of surly about it, honestly, because
is there a character that should be Tony Todd and isn't?
So the first iteration of this character, because there are going to be many iterations of different characters, just because it's supernatural. That's what happens. The first iteration is like so good at it that when they went away and then they like dared bring them back as someone else, I was like, which is so unfortunate because I hear most other people just love that version, and I have nothing against that version other than I'm like, but you're not Tony Todd, and if you were gonna get rid of the like already perfect person, you
yeah, I have a feeling I will probably feel similarly because again, Tony Todd, do no wrong.
Well, yeah, and it's especially by that point in time, like they were able to draw in bigger names, and like, come on, it's the longest running genre show,
right,
in North American television history. Fucking go big.
I am afraid to be excited for the new Candyman movie because usually it's a bad idea, and I don't want reboots of existing properties. Like, let them live as they are.
Yeah.
Let them exist on their own terms. But I love the fact that they're going back to Cabrini Green, which is now super fucking gentrified, and Tony Todd's coming back. Yeah. And fucking Virginia Madsen had better be in it. Like, perfect angel queen, Virginia Madsen.
Yes. All of that was a big aside. As you can tell, as we've said a couple times, we don't have a lot of commentary about this particular episode. Yeah. I have my kind of obligatory, like, oh, Dean, you're a precious little baby. When he has the Walkman that he has turned into an EMF, and I'm like, you deserve to be an engineer because that's what you should have been. I have my like emotional moments because he's so proud, and Sam just looks at him like, what the fuck? Like, you broke your Walkman to make an EMF? It's like, damn right.
Buy a new Walkman. Yeah. I made a thing. It's like that kidney stone drawing.
It's like holding out the stones.
He did real engineering work. He did it good.
Maybe it's the gallbladder. I lied. It's the gallbladder. It's gallstones.
Okay.
And the liver is like, what the fuck is this? You're just supposed to hold what I give you. And it's just so sad, like, that I made these. And that's what this scene is for me, is Dean holding his sad little gallstones and Sam the liver being like, shut up.
Samsung. Obligatory X-Files. So aside from Final Destination, which, started its life as an X-Files spec script, the main one this reminded me on was Tempus Fugit, which is, if anyone, and Max, it was a two-parter, kind of technically. Max Fennig is kind of a minor character who shows up in season 4-ish, ? He's abducted in the middle of a plane trip. Like he gets abducted right out the air. Literally, the aliens open the emergency exit door and he just sort of frozen floats out in the tractor beam. It's kind of funny. And the plane crashed.
Demon tractor beam.
Yeah. And so the episode I alluded to earlier where there's families like identifying their dead loved ones in this airplane hangar. And then there's, wreckage and such. And
it just seems like it would be so much more work because they have to go to a morgue anyway.
One would think. Although I don't know if you need strictly to do an autopsy on a plane crash body. Like, I think you got a pretty good idea what killed him.
No, it wouldn't really be for the autopsy, but like, depending on if the plane came from out of state, it needs to go through a proper channel to transport the body back over state lines.
Sure. Okay. Fair.
So it needs to go to some kind of coroner to get that paperwork to go through.
Yeah. I think the point of this was more.
This is just emotional, like, cost. Hey, let's make the audience really uncomfortable and make this sad.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that's the main one this reminded me of. People, except it was people being abducted instead of people being possessed.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to this one, except this is the first episode where we hear Sam say one of his catchphrases. Get this.
Get this is a catchphrase?
Get this. Says a lot. So get this. Get this. There's probably a lovely montage somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I don't have a lot to offer about the next episode either, honestly.
No, I have, again, like half a page of notes on Bloody Mary because, again, not a lot to be done with it.
Yeah. Might as well just power through it because I do have a lot of notes about 6. That should be its own separate thing, but
okay.
Just get through.
Brief timeout. Maybe, and I'll be right back.
No.
Tell the people fun stories. I'll be right back.
Oh God. Fun stories? I already used all of my airplane class jokes. Stories. Whatever. Yeah. It's been a week. It's finally above freezing here. It was in the 40s today, which is lovely. Walked around without a coat on, like proper Minnesota trash. Just kind of enjoying it. My driveway is clear of snow, which is great. But otherwise, I've just been watching Supernat, taking notes. Well, actually, I started, it came out like a year ago on Netflix, and I just never got around to watching it, but it's a British series called The Stranger. It's based on a book apparently, and it is some crazy shit. It's fiction, so like, you know, it's hard to really get invested in all of the craziness because clearly it's crazy for the sake of being crazy. But this like random woman just pops up dropping truth bombs, exposing secrets, blackmailing people. There's a llama that was beheaded in the first episode. I was not expecting that, so like, fair warning.
Sorry, we're back. Had to pee and stir my beans. Not at the same time.
Beans.
They're done now.
Oh, nice. So it only took 12 hours?
Approximately, give or take. I even soaked them. Like, I brined them while I was at work.
Yeah. And then cooked them for 5 hours, and then
5 hours.
Still
last
didn't.
Night.
Oof.
Still weren't creamy. Creamy.
So Aaron and I met at work, like, what, 6 years ago now?
Yeah, thereabouts.
And I suppose it was 5 years because it was like in November.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever you have to like work with someone, you're kind of like, oh, how is this gonna go?
It went great.
It went great, as you can tell. But one of the like most bizarre things that we bonded over in the workplace was old Greg, this skit that I think is a little more well known now than it was when we met.
I think it had gone viral like some years before.
Okay.
Like,
but like it went viral when I was in high school.
Right. Yeah. I had heard of it before I ever watched The Mighty Boosh because a friend of mine showed it to me when it was a viral video, and then he dressed as old Greg for Halloween.
Yeah.
Which was great.
But I think since we met, there was like a viral period of it. Because I feel like a lot more people that I talk to now are familiar with it, but maybe that's just...
Well, I hope it's because more people are watching The Mighty Boosh, because that show fucking rules.
Yeah. I know that was added to Netflix at one point around.
It was on Netflix at one point.
Yeah. So
I have the DVDs.
The Mighty Boosh is really funny, but old Greg is a fabulous little skit.
Mm-hmm.
But one of us said something like that character.
I don't remember how it started or where it came up.
I know. I feel like it had to have been Bailey's. Like, one of us had to have said Bailey's. Green. So that wasn't like the icebreaker or anything, but it didn't. I think it solidified.
Yeah, like, no, we're gonna be cool.
It like reformed the ice, but we were both trapped under it together now.
Particularly when we showed it to another coworker, because it must have been a particularly slow day, because we were both sitting there just going, "Cream it. Want to go to a club with people wee on each other?"
Bailey's out of shoe.
And she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Except she didn't say fuck, because she's a very proper little person.
Yeah, no.
And so we showed her old
Greg, and
she was thoroughly traumatized when Noel Fielding started hosting the Great British Bake Off, because every time she saw him then, it was, "I'm old Greg!
I'm old Greg!"
We practically ruined Noel Fielding for her, which, how old Greg ruins anything, I don't understand. But.
Yeah. I don't think she even like knew that it was actually him until someone made a Mighty Boosh reference.
Oh. And she put two and two together
and she was like,
"My nightmares!"
No. Oh, good times. Good times.
Indeed.
So
Unlike
we've
Bloody
decided,
Mary, which is mediocre times at best.
Yeah. Work.
Yeah, so my notes here are even worse than the average
Oh my
bears.
god, I have like one comment about this.
Yeah.
And so the probably quite rude note that I have. I say probably because it's not untrue, but I don't know that it needs to be said. Just fucking bad acting females.
Oh, so bad.
Just,
I have a note. No one can write
is
teenage girl dialogue.
Yeah,
Nobody.
Most of the previous episodes, it's not been like atrocious. Like they're not good. You know that these are people that are hired for 1-2 episodes max kind of thing.
Right.
You don't expect a lot out of them, but this episode, it really hurts. Because it depends way too much on these teenage actresses,
right,
who, like you said, don't have very good writing, because anytime adults try to write teenagers, it hurts.
No, unless you're fucking Deborah Hill. Like, no, you can't write teenage girl dialogue.
Right. It's hard. So they did the best they could.
Did they?
No.
I was gonna say, I think they could do better.
I mean, yeah. I just wrote bad acting females, LOL. Like that is my basis of this episode.
Yeah. So our cold open-ish is 3 preteens, teens at a slumber party. As teen girls at a slumber party do, they dare the one to go do Bloody Mary in the bathroom. Bless you. And so she does, and her friends scare her and they're dicks, and it's fine. And then the next day, was it yet that evening? Her dad is home and says, "Girls, can you be quiet, please?" And, "Sorry." Again, in the way of sleepovers since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
The older sister, teen older sister, comes home after curfew and tries to go in the bathroom, and dad is there in a massive puddle of blood on the bathroom floor, and his eyes are gone, which was fairly creepy.
Yeah.
And the Bloody Mary thing does creep me out.
Yeah, I don't
like the dark. It's spooky.
Yeah,
I get that.
I don't ever want to like go back to the time when that was a thing people did just for fun. Like, It's kind of like the Charlie thing when that was a craze. It's like, sure. Is it unlikely that this is actually real and gonna do anything? Yes, but do you really want to be fucking around with that?
Yeah. Also, that's the point is terror. And I'm, again,
right,
like giant baby. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, like I am never, as much as I enjoy watching this, like I am never the type of person that's like, oh, we're not doing that. Yeah. We're not. Remember the broom thing where people were balancing the broom on its like bristles?
Oh, vaguely.
It was like literally a year ago, and then the entire world had to shut down because clearly they opened a portal to hell and we were thrown into some dystopia 2020 variant.
Oh, I assumed that all of this was because of a sort of domino effect of preceding systemic failures.
Oh, well, that too.
Demon brooms.
Demon broom.
We
can talk people out of doing demon brooms if they ever watch this. We can't talk the system into being just or working.
There is no solution for late stage capitalism, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, we're doomed to the collapse of society as we know it pretty soon if nothing changes. So.
Yeah, I need to get some useful skills because otherwise it's not going to be a fun apocalypse for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad apocalypse. Anyway.
Anyhow, so dad's dead. They pretend to be dad's co-workers. Oh, so they somehow get here with some vague reference to the diary, which has started to annoy me by this point.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, Dean says, okay, we're going to find dad, but we're going to fight every bad thing on the way there, which is like, okay, sure, now we have a rationale for the plot. But it's like,
yeah. So here's my problem with that, though, is clearly they're never going to catch up to John.
Right. Well, when he said that in the episode he did, I was like, okay, what does Dean know? Like, I was thinking that was suspicious. Like, if we truly give a shit about finding Dad, there's always going to be bad shit. Let's just go find Dad. Like,
Yeah.
what does he know? What's the Grand Master plan? And so far, it does not appear there is one. It's just, this is the rationale for getting them out on the road.
Yeah, I don't. How do I say this? I do genuinely think that while Dean wanted to find John, yeah, like
Mhm.
clearly he doesn't want his dad to be dead
Right.
at this point in time anyway.
No.
But I think he's a lot happier just having Sam there.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
it's clearly not an urgent matter for him.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to talk about the next episode, because one of the things that you gotta wonder, like, what do Sam's friends think? Like, he just fucked off to go on this road trip with his brother, and they kind of address this in number 6, but
Which I mostly like. I'll swallow that. Like, cool. That I can accept.
yeah,
I just wish, like, they're not even as, granted, I guess I've also bitched that there's too much exposition, so maybe I just want it both ways.
yeah,
But, like, there's not even any reference in the diary to what's leading them from place to place, other than Dad mentioned something here.
yeah. It would be better if, because you don't want to waste too much time doing the research.
Yeah, I do hate that.
Like, that does get old really quick.
Mhm.
It's far more interesting when they end up somewhere for whatever reason, and if they have to do research, they're doing the research there.
Right.
And they're doing the, interacting with random people and
salty local. Love a salty
Yeah.
local.
but
what you mentioned about Dean wanting more time with Sam, I think that's more of it's not a retcon, but it's like reading in with what you know from having seen this a bunch. I don't think you get that
yeah,
from the episode itself.
definitely not from this, not by this episode.
Yeah, like you can extrapolate from later things you find out, but
yeah,
in here it's just, okay, I guess we're looking for Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, and
but not that hard.
Right. And it's so funny because I am not a terribly patient person, you know that. I genuinely, if John Winchester were my father and he had done this, I'd be like, no, fuck you. You can call me if you want to talk to me.
Right.
Like, by episode 3, I would have been over this bullshit so badly. Like,
you'd be back in medical school.
What?
You'd be back in medical school.
Yeah. It was law school, but
it was. I always mix it up.
Yeah.
It was law school. Stanford Law.
Wasn't even technically law school yet. He had an interview to get into law school.
Like, oh yeah.
Never got there.
Yeah.
Because Jess died the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, they do some investigating. They discover through there's a oh no, nope, now I'm getting it mixed up with the pilot. So there's a microfiche scene in this, right?
I think so.
Okay, maybe there is.
Because they have to like identify who it is. I think this is the one where they get like a crusty box of like county records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, okay, so we know there's a Bloody Mary type. Was she I honestly, I got my notes, the worst for this. Was she was a suicide? Or am I mistaking this for the pilot?
This was not a suicide.
Tell us and our kind non-existent viewers what they find out about Bloody Mary.
She was murdered.
Mm.
And no one ever found out who it was because her like MO is to kill people with secrets where someone else died.
Oh, that's right. Because yeah, a few other people end up. So the girl's dad dies, and then her friend dies, and before they find out that yes, this was the rationale. Which that one, like again, similarly to the pilot, these ghost women have fucked up standards.
Yeah.
Like that girl who she feels all sad because her high school boyfriend threatened to kill himself and she said fine.
Yeah.
And then he did. That
Yeah.
was an abuse tactic. And
Yeah.
she maybe didn't have to be callous about it, but she was 100% in the right. Like, fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah. And
She didn't deserve to die.
Yeah. They don't. Obviously, they don't call out that none of that relationship dynamic is okay, but they do call out, like, that's not, like, her fault.
No.
And they say, well, if you're looking at it from this ghost lens or vengeful spirit, whichever one they call her,
right,
it's you have a secret and someone died, and none of the rest of it matters because that's just how ghosts work and operate. Which that's why the pilot, I think I talked about it, like, this doesn't fit a lot of these rules that they kind of establish.
How consistent are they in the rules throughout? Like, I know there's a lot of show, so
yeah,
presumably the consistency just must suffer by nature of it being like so
I would say they're consistent enough that rewatching the pilot, it stood out to me, because so they don't, I guess the other aspect is they get to branch out on what they're facing kind of after season 2. It's a lot of the same. It's a lot of vengeful spirits, a lot of ghosts, a lot of vampires eventually, things like that, demons. And then in season 3, they kind of start getting to branch out onto other things, and seasons 4 and 5 less so, because it's got like a 2-season story arc that's a little more important than the monster of the week at the time. Yeah, so I would say that when ghosts in particular show up in later seasons, they're more like this, where even though, yeah, there's a lot of nuance that matters to us, ghosts don't see that.
Sure. Which, I guess is fair.
Yeah.
You're dead. Priorities are going to be different.
Well, yeah, and I mean, they do go into this a little later, in more depth about you lose the human aspect over time. So you don't die and instantly become this vengeful spirit.
Okay, it's more of humanity degrades as you.
Yeah. Which is the only other kind of like rule breaking thing that they kind of do in season 1. We're not there yet, but
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean already.
Yeah.
We meet a ghost who.
Right. Yeah. You're like, oh, maybe this doesn't track as well.
Maybe not track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is another one of those that there's a fair amount of, I think, missed opportunities here, because at least for me, I like that they're doing a little bit more of like Americana specific type stuff, like urban legends, Bloody Mary, like there's a Hitchhiker episode, which we haven't had yet, right? This is only episode 5. Which they could have done a lot more with. And it's just like, okay, vague vengeful spirit. Like, again, what if they, like, you could pull this in from different mythologies? Like, what is there, another sort of supernatural tradition that, has some sort of mirror demon or whatever? Like, you could pull in something like that. And like, America being a country of immigrants, you have literally the world to.
Yeah. I would argue this is one of those kind of funny things where it was kind of one-off line, but it's a little into that, like, it's not quite exposition, but they reference mirrors being like the window to the soul, and like that being part of this power, and why this ghost is able to identify who victims will be. And that is not something that's I don't think that's like a specifically Western.
No, well, I mean, eyes are the window to the soul, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that's.
But like,
even a
but
thing
the
that's
but the
supernatural.
mirror like camera reflection thing.
Yeah. See, that just feels more like an old timey superstition than like a tradition of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
I
mean, I guess where is the line between superstition and things that are. Stop it, phone.
Oh, and also like the idea that she travels between reflective surfaces without looking at them somehow, and this is how they trap her is horseshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just real dumb.
Yeah. I know. This is so funny because this like
I don't even have an X-Files for this. That's how little I thought of this fucking episode.
Yeah. It's so funny because this is usually one of the episodes that people like talk about. They're like, "Oh, that's a great episode." And I don't agree.
No, it's just kind of nothing.
The only like big thing that I have in here, I wrote a little upside down smiley face because that's how I feel about this, but it's like it's really amusing how in this secrets are really portrayed as like lethal, and you know, it's like, oh, secrets are poison. And then all they do the rest of the series, the entire rest of the series, is keep secrets from each other.
Which, you know, again, this could have been thematically interesting in that vein.
Right, exactly. Like, what if this
this came later?
Right.
Like, that's the thing you could do.
Yeah.
You know, but play on like they don't so much have secret. Well, we don't know. We can infer that they have secrets because their family life is, you know, capital C complicated.
Right.
But like we don't know what that dynamic really even looks like yet because it's episode 5.
Right.
You could, you know, that could be explored a lot more when we find out, you know, what's dad keeping from them? What are they keeping from each other? Like you could pull that in, and then you don't even necessarily have to. That's what I want.
That can be what you do,
Aaron. Thing as much.
You can rewrite the series from Bloody Mary's perspective.
There's going to be so many more women, and it's going to be real gay.
So many.
So fucking gay.
I mean, it's already pretty. It's not terribly gay yet, but I would argue as we get into it, most of my notes, pretty much every episode is going to have something like
secret queer content.
Secret queer content.
Here for that gay shit.
Not even a secret. But yeah, these were kind of 2 rougher episodes, as indicated by our rambling
enthusiasm.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess one of the fun things about a Bloody Mary episode is who in the audience that they would have had didn't have that kind of experience, and so again, low-hanging fruit.
Did boys do that? Like it was kind of
I don't know,
like a preteen girl sort of sleepover staple.
Yeah, that's true, because they did not want a female audience for this. I'm pretty sure that that's true. They wanted this to be boys club, the network, not necessarily the writers or the actors or anything, but like the network.
Yeah, which nothing brings in that you know, white male 16 to 24 demographic like family drama.
Right. It's just doomed to failure. No. One of my friends and I were discussing this, and like, you know, honestly, if Supernet were to like try to start airing, certainly not like this, I think it would look a lot different given how time has changed.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if it would make it past season 1 or even halfway through season 1, especially if they did keep the demographic that ended up kind of rallying behind it. Because like a lot of really decent shows have been canceled just because they want to be able to advertise to men because there's more money to be made with commercials for men.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Which I'm
not sure if that's borne out by reality. I mean, as they say, women be shopping.
Yeah.
Am I right?
But I'm not entirely, I don't understand the logic behind it, but there have been studies done about it. But yeah, like, I think about things like even razors, shaving razors, those, not like, I don't know what kind of razors someone might think of, but like something you shave with, like, they're definitely going to end up getting more money from women in the long run on that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Chris was giving me a hard time the other day because there's a men's razor in my bathroom. I'm like, yeah, because it was $3 cheaper on Amazon. And
it's cheaper and they come with an extra blade, so you get a nicer shave.
Yeah. It's winter anyway. It's not like I need to use the fucker, but still.
Right.
Because we live in the Great White North.
Yeah.
And a solid pelt is a survival tactic.
It's true. Especially after the last few weeks when it was like negative. But it was so nice today.
So beautiful. I got my windows open. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I went to an all-girls college, and I went home with a friend of mine for Thanksgiving our senior year. And her sister was like 8.5 months massive pregnant, and us, being either single or not in the same city as our partners, had not shaved our legs in a good 6 months probably. And so we're sitting on the couch comparing our leg hair and making Chewbacca noises, as one does. And her sister was like, "You two are fucking disgusting. I'm 8 months pregnant and I shave my legs every 3 days." Why?
That's a lot.
Why? What is, like, that's insane. Like, also, how? Just, practically speaking, how on earth do you manage that?
Yeah.
Do you have a team? Like, how's this going down?
Probably a stool.
Yeah.
Just prop the leg up on the vanity.
How and then why? Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll admit I prefer having smoother legs just because it gets caught in my jeans and things, and it's just it's more pleasant to not have that happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm fairly lucky because I'm quite Scandinavian and like as such have basically translucent leg hair.
Oh,
that no. I don't know it's there most of the time, and so I don't bother because who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, I can feel mine. Definitely.
What's your leg hair like? Tell us in the comments.
How often do you shave, if at all?
If at all. What's your personal grooming like? Start a discussion. Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, advertising. Yeah.
Point is, I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. It's hard to tell. I don't know. I don't know if the show would.
Well, and it doesn't feel like these genre shows get. I don't know if they're not. Well, I don't pay a ton of attention to network TV, so this statement isn't really based on anything. But it feels like they either aren't getting made as much, or if they are, what they last a couple seasons, and then like they're not getting made well. What was the last really good genre show that you watched? Like Fringe? I fucking loved Fringe.
Fringe was good.
Eventually.
Like, oh my god, shut up.
Hollywood.
In the future, we'll need to take a break at like 7:30. I should have gone to, but can't deal with that. It's annoying. I mean, does Downton Abbey count as a genre show?
I mean,
I'm trying to figure out, like, do any genres count? Because like,
I guess when I say that is a little broad, you're right. I think what I mean more is supernatural type.
Yeah, I liked Constantine.
Oh, Hannibal. Hannibal was fucking mighty.
Yeah.
Loved Hannibal.
But I think not so much on networks is probably what you're getting at, but like Netflix and Amazon definitely.
Yeah.
Sci-fi does decent like movies.
They have some good ideas that don't necessarily get I know people absolutely go nuts over Wynonna Earp.
I still not.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Like it definitely was let down by some of the acting, but like
didn't another season of that just come out?
Maybe.
I feel like I saw that trending the other day.
I know it was it's also, you know, also great wholesome queer content, which I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it went a long time between seasons and people were like getting itchy for it. But
yeah. I keep wanting like a final like Sherlock movie.
Did they fucking okay, I literally was just made aware of this weekend that there was another Sherlock series in 2017. Like that's how much I slipped off after that last season with the brides, the weird quasi-feminist like secret society that was actually really misogynist.
Oh. The movie?
No, they did like was it a one-off or was that the last one of the season? I can't remember. I think it was a one-off.
They did a one-off like movie, yeah.
Yeah.
That last season was interesting.
Yeah, not so.
I watched it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but yeah, it was. I liked the ending of the third season or whatever it was better. Yeah. And then I did love Downton Abbey, but these are all like British shows.
Yeah.
I'm not making a very good like case for American television.
Right. Well, I think what made me think of it was there's a new show out on NBC called Debris that is by the Fringe creator.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's not very good.
Yeah.
And I'm the queen of reading one review and going, well, fuck that, and then I'll never watch it.
You are.
So maybe it's great.
I can speak to that.
Yeah, I only have so much time. I could be rewatching the X-Files for the 17th time.
I mean, Game of Thrones had a decent run.
Yeah. Why the fuck? I didn't even think of it because like the last season was such a nothing kind of void of television for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Game of Thrones. Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, that one was fun because it was like the entire world was experiencing something.
Right. Yeah.
And I am sure that less than the entire world cared about Lord of the Rings the way I perceived it to, because, you know, I was in junior high and high school when that was a thing.
I mean, that was like a phenomenon.
That's what it felt like, was like the entire world is enjoying the same nerdy thing together.
Yeah.
Even if a lot of it is problematic.
Well, and there's the Marvel thing now, which I'm not particularly into, but it is definitely like,
yeah,
I mean, it's mass entertainment. It's not even, you can't even call it like niche anymore. Like nerd culture is mainstream culture now.
Yeah. I mean, God, what is that in? Oh, it's in Parks and Rec. There's a part in Parks and Rec where someone like makes fun of a character for knowing Captain Kirk's middle name.
Oh.
Which, I mean, I still, Ken Jennings made that same like comparison. He was like it's not cool to know Captain Kirk's. I'm like, who the fuck doesn't know Tiberius? Like, Kirk. Genuinely, who doesn't know this? This is like, spoilers, Darth Vader is Luke's father. Like, it's that level of nothingness as far as like cultural knowledge.
Right. Well, it's also so stereotypical as to be like, come on.
Well, right.
Like, yes, let's kick Trekkies while we're down.
Right. But those Star Trek movies were pretty solid.
The J.J. Abrams ones?
I enjoyed them.
I don't know. It was it was fan servicey in a way that I could see being kind of.
Well, yeah, but everything those years were fan servicey. You had the new Jurassic World. You had Star Wars making a comeback. You had new Star Trek. Like, it was all living on nostalgia, and I was okay with it. I have a friend who like just fucking railed on Jurassic World, and I'm sitting there like, I loved it. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I was there for the nostalgia feels. The second one can go fuck itself because it's terrible and wasn't able to stand on its own without making even more nostalgic throwbacks. And I'm like, no. You're allowed to reinvigorate a franchise with a lot of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep living on that, though. You need to stand on your own.
Yeah. Now that you're here.
Yeah. Like, if you can't walk like Littlefoot away from the crater, you're going in the crater.
How dare you?
Tree stars. The saddest leaf ever.
Oh, God damn you, Don Bluth.
I love that movie.
Oh, damn it. It's been too long.
But I don't know. I thought it was fun to see like original series of Star Trek with, you know, a little makeover.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Like, Next Gen's great. Deep Space Nine is all right, and then everything else I'm just kind of like
I just there were too many moments where, like, again, when McCoy gets on the transport or whatever, and he's like, something, I can feel it in my bones, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're fucking Dr. McCoy, and your nickname is Bones.
I get it.
Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. God damn it. Zachary Quinto was good though.
Yeah, Zachary Quinto is good.
Generally is an enjoyable presence.
Yeah. I like Carl Urban, so there's a lot of like leeway there for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I'm like, genuinely, I will watch Carl Urban do almost anything with glee.
Oh, he was pretty in Lord of the Rings too.
He was pretty in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, no, the issue I had wasn't necessarily with Carl Urban. It was just like, why the fuck would you do that? Like,
well, yeah,
that's an awful.
I'm just saying, like,
droner, even for a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that I end up giving passes on where it's like, does this annoy me a little? Yes. Does it annoy me a lot? Not enough. Like, I had a friend who said, I mean, why not cast people with French accents for the live action Beauty and the Beast? And I was sitting there like,
understand them.
Well, that, and my response was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess that didn't bother me because even in the like animated version, Lumiere's the only one who has like a French accent.
And Jerry Orbach can do no goddamn wrong.
Jerry Orbach.
Poor one. Fallen homie. Yeah, that feels like somebody's taking the, you know, queer actors should play queer parts, trans actors should play trans parts. You know, maybe let's not assume that all Asians are the same when it comes to casting Asian roles, etc. And kind of maybe going a smidgen too far with it. Like, only French people should play, like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe when the French are like an underserved, underrepresented minority, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, my only point was that, like, you know, it didn't stand out to me at all. It was weird to me that it was Ewan McGregor, and he clearly does not have a French accent.
Was he Lumiere in that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never saw it because I didn't hear.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's not great.
Also, the whole live action remake thing, like, I don't really get the point. Like, something like Beauty and the Beast, okay, fine. But, like, when they did The Lion King, it was like, why? Why would you fucking do this?
So, of the live action remakes, I have seen Beauty and the Beast. I watched Mulan because my friends wanted to. Actually, the only reason I saw Beauty and the Beast was because it was my friend's birthday and she wanted to go see it. I was like, I can feel my childhood dying. I don't want that.
Right.
I did see Jungle Book, which was like the
one.
first one.
Yeah.
It did not stand up. There was this fabulous mini series. I think it was either from the 80s or the 90s. I know I watched it in the 90s, but
I think I remember this.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it wasn't like Disneyed.
Right.
It wasn't a Disney-fied version, but it was like stands out.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about giving a kid nightmares about snakes. Ooh.
Well, and like the Jungle Book thing to some degree, but more so the Lion King, was like the whole point of having it be animated is you can, like, animated lions show emotion.
Well, right, like
fucking fake as
yeah, and
lions are
they even said that
no expression.
like animals don't emote the way we read emotion. It's like, well, yeah.
It's just a CGI lion with Beyonce's voice coming out of it. I don't understand.
Yeah, so I never actually watched Lion King. I have not watched Aladdin because I wasn't a huge fan of the animated version in the first place. And as I understand, the only good part about the live action remake was the original song and Jasmine's actress singing that song.
Okay.
Which,
yeah, I think I'm not a big Disney person in general. I have a fair amount of affection for Aladdin from like just a 90s kid standpoint, having listened to that soundtrack about 1,000 fucking times as a child and loving every moment of it. But yeah, like the thing that I liked as a kid exists. I don't feel the need to then a lesser version of this thing. Like, the animation is part of the charm. It's part of the point. Like,
yeah, and I guess one of the like most disappointing things is things that could be really cool, like from an actual like movie directing standpoint, transferring it from animated, like Little Mermaid. I don't particularly enjoy the Little Mermaid now that I am over 16 and it's like, Jesus, Ariel, shut the fuck up and go to your room.
You're a small child.
But that has potential from a like visual standpoint to be really cool. And like you can show a more like magical transformation, things like that, where like technology serves a better purpose than making animated lions look realistic but then still trying to make them emote the way an animated lion did.
Right.
And you can, I would definitely update some of the music, but obviously they can't, and they can't lose part of your world, obviously. No. They can't make it, well, they could make a live action Pocahontas, but that's going to be
a bit yikes.
That's going to be a yikes moment. I can feel it already. A live action Lilo and Stitch would be really cute. If you have not seen Lilo and Stitch,
not since I was in high school, probably.
Okay. I do. Lilo and Stitch is lovely.
All I remember is family means nobody gets left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got.
But it's great.
I know that. Well, that's the other thing too, is I haven't seen a lot of the actually good Disney and Pixar movies. Like, why am I gonna fucking bother watching these live action rehashes?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, as someone who enjoys most of them, I won't. I was really upset when I heard they were making a live action Mulan because I was like, and then I found out they were going to cut out all of the music and I was like, and then they were like, well, we're making it more, respectful of like Chinese tradition and the original legend. And you're like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And then it just kept getting worse again. And you're like,
I think you're lying, Michael.
I think you're lying to me. And then, of course, women. Oh my God. No, just don't watch it. And I'm not gonna. I had to go on a rant. I was like, oh, women with warrior spirits are apparently witches. And wow, whoa, witches.
I mean, we are, and that's a good thing. Like, give me a witch.
A witch.
Here for monstrous women.
Burn her anyway.
Turn me into a newt.
Newt.
Not better.
Okay. I'm gonna stop recording for sure because
yeah. Bye, non.
I was gonna say, do we do we don't have a very good like outro still. Huh? I said we don't have like a real outro
or yet. Intro.
We don't have, I mean, our intro's a little more existent though, because we just say our names and what we're drinking.
Yeah.
But our outro has been real bad. I mean, this has all been bad.
Most of this has not been great.
We've just been talking.
Hey, we're having fun.
We're having fun.
If the rest of y'all don't find it infectious, fuck you.
You can stop watching.
Please don't. We want subscriptions.
We want people to watch so then we can randomly get advertising money for all of the brands that we're going to keep randomly, mentioning.
Yeah, like, I don't remember, Rancho Gordo. It's going to be what, beans and wine. the two things we might get.
Ooh, if we could get Martha Stewart wine to...
I mean, Martha could start fucking properly packaging her wine. That's right, Martha, I'm calling you out.
All those gift wrapping videos that you make. Can't even package wine.
Nope. All right. Well, this
the only time I ordered from that, it was fine, but
yeah, I've ordered a couple times and it's been mostly fine. I got a few screw cap rosés that were all different levels, and had clearly possibly either like slightly exploded or leaked in some fashion. The sealant on the screw cap was not great, I think.
Okay, so not like the physical box packaging.
No, that has been perfectly cromulent.
Okay. So Martha, better vet the actual products that you are selling.
Yeah.
These are supposed to be your favorites.
So that bitch won't just slap her name on anything, or so I thought.
I don't know. Her and Snoop Dogg did a little spot during the Super Bowl this year. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did not. I find their friendship though implausible, kind of adorable.
Yeah, it was really funny. They were like at two separate, like socially distanced stands, and each were making their like favorite Super Bowl party snacks and drinks and swapping because they're funny that way. Anyway, this has been Super Nat with Maddie and Aaron. And
sorry, this one kind of sucked.
This one did kind of suck.
We're getting into better episodes soon.
Yeah, we didn't. It's hard when you're in kind of nothing episodes, because at least the first 3 episodes had some kind of like, okay, we're moving the story along, and then these 2 were just like, we need episodes these weeks.
Yeah. Filler. I'll start taking better notes someday, I promise. Good people of the internet, I'm sorry.
No, you won't.
I'm gonna try real hard.
Get them uploaded.
I'm not rewatching these episodes to take good notes though.
Oh God, no. I love this show and say God no.
Join us next time for Skin. And possibly also Hookman.
I'm really excited to talk about Skin. I have so many notes, so many thoughts and opinions.
Excellent. And I have minimal thoughts and opinions, so you'll definitely be carrying that one as if you're not already carrying this entire fucking thing on your strong shoulders. Just like you carried my couch.